This is TWiT.
We already know that Samsung has been kind of doing gangbusters in the large screen folded devices with our folds and our flips. And I think quite a few of us are folders and flippers on this podcast. Well, at CES 2022, they've got a couple more form factors for us that are pretty interesting. So I guess I'll try to describe it as best I can for the podcast only folks. But what I think is interesting about these four Samsung kind of concept prototypes are that kind of, if you think for example of the Fold, where it has like two screens, like the front screen and then kind of the middle screen, this kind of some of these concepts kind of try to move away from that. So the first one is the Fold S, an S, because it actually kind of folds in and out in an S shape. So if you think kind of like maybe like a pamphlet, so rather than having, say, a screen on the front and then a separate kind of like fold out screen kind of like within, this is all just one screen. And the way that the S Fold works,
cool.
It's just like a pamphlet, so that when it's folded, the first third or what have you becomes the front panel as opposed to having a separate screen. So that's the S, the Flex S. There's also the Flex G, which kind of, if you think more like maybe, I don't know, like a menu at a fancy restaurant where the content is inside and then you have kind of like the two sides of the device kind of folding inwards one over the other. This is a little bit different. You can actually have your large screen, but have the screen more protected from scratches, bumps, bruises, and drops. There is also the Flex Slide, which I was really excited about. I think there was like were you all talking about like the droid, the OG droid last week?
Yeah.
And this is kind of maybe like gave me a little bit of Flex or a droid slide or a droid old droid Android phone vibes where you kind of have a little bit of a extra bit sliding out, but really it actually, I think it was kind of hard for me to see the video. It actually looks like rather than having a screen that folds, which, you know, if you're kind of someone who has a fold, like the current Fold 3, there's kind of some creasing going on. You know, you can kind of see where like the two halves of the screen fold out. This looks to me more like a kind of almost like, if you think of like a conveyor belt or maybe like the tracks on a tank, the way that they kind of roll out like that, or a bicycle chain, it seems that the screen is rolling up and kind of staying like kind of in a more circular roll and then being able to be expanded out as you slide it out. So there's going to be no crease, hopefully. And then finally, just like with the Galaxy Note, making things bigger and better, there's also the Flex Note, which is basically taking something like a flip or kind of the other that are kind of like mono screens that kind of fold in and just taking it to laptop sized form factors. So,
which is crazy. Which is like it's like the Surface. It's like the Surface Duo but bigger.
Yes. I
mean, it's a laptop with, instead of a keyboard, it's a display. Like, that's crazy. Or it's like a foldable iPad Pro.
Yeah, I think like actually the Flex S is pretty amazing. Actually, like the technology. Yeah,
I got to tell you, all of these take foldable to like the next level, and like bravo Samsung, because like here we are looking at like all the stuff we've seen of foldables. I mean, like I feel like we said 2021 was like a breakthrough year for foldables, where like Samsung finally shipped affordable foldable phones that people wanted, right? These are like next gen stuff. And let me tell you, everyone listening to the show, if you're listening to an audio podcast right now, that's great. When you get on your computer, go look on your phone, find the video version of this episode and watch the videos that Burke is rolling as we're talking about them so you can see these demos, or go find the demos online. You have to see these to believe them. And this is why I love foldables, because they're so bananas. Right, like this Flex Note is enormous. Like, but then you got to wonder, what is the cost going to be on this?
Oh my goodness, yeah. And the Flex Note is actually cooler than a very large. What was the Surface Duo? Because the Surface Duo was actually two screens with a hinge in the middle. It wasn't a full, like a single screen that takes the entire space, right? And this is exactly that, but laptop size. So that's even cooler. And I should also point out TCL. We've talked about TCL in the past, and very recently, you know, back in December, they were showing off some of their concepts, which a lot of them are very similar to what Samsung's showing here, which just goes to show that this is R&D that's happening, and, not just with one company, like, oh, let's see what kind of cool, interesting, weird things that we can do to push the envelope. They're all working in a similar direction here, which means, the very large laptop that folds and it's a single screen, like, we're probably going to see that at some point. That would be my guess. I mean, I don't know that for certain, but if they're all kind of working in that direction, the rollable, we saw the kind of scroll. I think now we've talked on this show about 3 different manufacturers that are testing concepts there. So someone's going to bring that to market. So yeah, these things will end up going from a curiosity and a pushing the boundary sort of device into, hey, we've got a product and you can actually buy it now. And it'll be curious. I'll be curious to see which one kind of wins out if one does.
I love this stuff. I love this stuff so much, and I love that Samsung's not the only people doing it.
Yeah, there's the Oppo, like I guess, and I think it's kind of I love the idea that they're playing with what will work for people. So like I think the Galaxy, the Fold S is very fascinating just because of that kind of really interesting idea of like it's the same screen but like kind of in different form factors. But then the G seems very practical. Like if you're kind of someone who is commuting a lot or telecommuting a lot and you need your large screen device, but you worry about what is likely a very expensive device getting damaged, then you can kind of prioritize protection. And
right.
And like I'm kind of curious to see whether honestly it'll just be like rollable foldables, rolling on the floor, folded
ruffleables.
Ruffleables don't have ridges or don't have creases. There we go.
Ruffleables don't have creases.
Wow.
There you go.
When you're getting right to like just giving marketing tips. Yes. You do this all the time. And so you're fitting right in. This is excellent.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting if maybe that is what the thing is, because I think I've talked to a couple other dev friends that have the Fold, and the crease, I guess your mileage might vary on whether you start to like your brain starts to kind of paint over it, and whether that's what people care about. So, but just seeing all these different like varieties and flavors and seeing what wins out. I think this is, where we're getting to. We've got like over the hump of, okay, foldables can be a thing. People will buy them. Yeah. Now it's like, okay, what specifically are people going to buy in the future? Or is it going to be like phones today where we have like 3 or 4 different ones? And whether you're an enterprise user, a telecommuter, whether you're just someone at home, like maybe you'll have just your pick of how you want to fold it.
Yeah. Love it.